Hello, this is White Noise Level 3 podcast, and this is Tuwinaku coming at you again from sunny South Florida. Um, this is me. Welcome back. I also produce podcasts for others, so I definitely welcome and appreciate any support you have for my podcast clients and to listen to their podcasts as well. You can tell my latest podcast client is male, so you know that would not be me. That would be a podcast client. All right, so let's get into this. I just finished the audiobook of The Guest Room by Trisha Sylva. And I wanted to convey this quick book review to definitely give it a thumbs up and make sure that it's on your summer reading list. I mean, I wouldn't say it was a walk in the park. Depending on your own life trajectory, it can send you and trigger you into a number of different areas. But at the end of the day, it's definitely a solid piece for you to consider. So I am going to probably spill a few spoilers, but this is definitely not the Cliff Note version of the book. So there's plenty more for you to discover, and if I do, it's really just to enhance this book review. Okay, so the main protagonist here, the main heroine, is Tess, and the poor girl just lost her sister. Not only is her sister dead, but she was murdered with the killer still at large. People, nobody except the killer really knows what happened, and maybe her sister. Her sister's name is Rosie. So Tess is very left-brained, just obsessed with a single focus of finding who killed her sister, as she's certainly entitled to do so. Then there's this mixture, like if you're making chocolate chip cookies, there's this mixture of Tess stalking people, then being paranoid that Tess is being stalked herself. And I mean, admittedly, she does do a good bit of stalking, not just for one person, but others in the book. So stalking is kind of this action verb in this book. Rosie, as we said, is Tess's sister. She's deceased. As the title suggests, there is a guest in the guest room. The guest, his name is Aaron, and he's subletting Tess's guest room. The guest room is suddenly available because that used to be Rosie's room. So it's kind of hallowed ground. Aaron makes his living as a pottery maker. He actually is very artistic and is also very right-brained in that he spills his guts in a diary, in his diary. I listened to the ebook, so on the go listener, it was fine. The narrator is female and has a strong Irish accent, and so if you're at all kind of audio, you intake information via audio like I do, then you're going to hear, depending on how many hours you listen to this every day, you're going to hear her voice occasionally because it's just such a strong Irish accent, which is of course beautiful. There are secondary characters, plenty of secondary characters. such as suspects, like Rosie's ex. Uh, Rosie has a few exes, so that would be revealed in time. And basically, the book does a really, really great job. There's a lot of detailing the loss of Rosie's murder, mainly on and mainly by Tess, of course, but also on Aaron. It turns out, and this is a spoiler alert, Aaron had a relationship with Rosie, and he just, searched and looked up Tess. So it was no accident that he was renting the room, and that is something as the reader that you greatly suspect, but you just get little tidbits. Is he? Isn't he? What's his deal? There's a lot of strong suspicion on that. Then it turns out that Aaron did have a relationship with Rosie, and in fact, Rosie was pregnant with Aaron's baby, and Rosie miscarried. So of course that was this whole horrible thing. Most, if not all of the characters that I'm aware are young, and the main adults are young adults, and so to go through something like this would have to be awful. So not only is Aaron dealing with the loss of the baby, but also the loss of Rosie, right? Rosie's no longer among the land of the living, decides to track down the sister Tess, rents out a room, and continues writing his diary that he does not lock up. So basically, that's quite a bit of bad judgment on the fact of Aaron. If you're going to have a diary like that, if you already have this huge secret that you, not only did you know the older sister of the poor girl that you're renting the room out, but you had a relationship with her and lost a baby with her, you probably want to put that diary away. On top of that, as you can probably guess, Aaron starts a relationship with Tess. So the book does a good deal of reflection and self-reflection and revelation of that fact. So it's a little messy, but especially when you're dealing with young adults. I mean, I'm sure most people, when you look back at your young adult life, you're going to think, oh, it was kind of a messy time, So it's all good at the end, I guess. The only voice of just, left brain analytical is Rosie's detective contact, because she's following up with the police on the murder of her sister, does it regularly, probably even more than she should, tends to blow things out of proportion, does things, is stalking, bothering people, but at the same time, I mean, she really is trying to figure out who killed her sister. The detective his name is Pettifoot. He is the only voice of reason as far as I'm able to claw on. He he's very professional, listens to everything that Rosie says, picks up the phone, follows up when needed, but he also goes so far as to say, look, you need a therapist. You need to see them right now. And continues to remind her that she has not seen the therapist yet, the recommended therapist. Tess needs some mental help, and that's fine. I mean, she's dealing with not only the loss of her sister, but the unsolved murder of her sister. One of the things that I really enjoyed about this book are the picturesque remembrances of times past. Apparently, Tess spent quite a bit of time in Spain with Rosie, and towards the very end of the book, she describes the sunset, the Spanish sunsets, and the sunset over the Alhambra, which I had personally visited myself with my sister and my mom and some family that lived in Spain a long time ago. So that was thrilling to get back there because it is a beautiful country. There's no doubt about it. So my advice to my listeners is to step away from ChatGPT, stop searching for yourself on ChatGPT, and embrace this book as a solid work of contemporary fiction. It keeps you engaged. It's quick paced. I'm always wondering this happened. It's linear. What's going to happen next? And there are some notable cliffhangers. Uh, the author, also does quite a bit of good work with foreshadowing. And who doesn't love a good finale? So this finale is dramatic, action-packed, and has a big, big twist. I mean, I did not see this coming. I really didn't. Of course, as any good finale, it answers most of the questions, like it reveals who killed Rosie and Aaron's role, or not, in this imbroglio. I'm not saying that this happened in this book at all, but FYI, in a hand-to-hand fight, just remember how quickly things can happen, even accidentally. So I always train myself. I don't think most people, I don't like people just coming up to me. So I try to keep at least 4 feet away from others, complete strangers, complete randos. And anything inside that can be turned into a big issue, invading your space is definitely not a good idea, especially these days. So yeah, I mean, things can happen quickly, but just remember, like I said, all the main characters are young adults, yet their actions, as things can happen in a second. It can swallow up their entire future. It can swallow up their lives. It can take their lives. So take care not to be able to take care to be able to reflect back, like a beautiful sunset of the past, when you were in Spain with your family. But don't miss a second to forge ahead and live a full life, whatever that means to you. So don't let the past define you, but at the same time, take care that anything can happen. And we'd be curious to know how you enjoyed this book as well. Please leave it in the comments, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll be doing more book reviews, so stay tuned and welcome back to White Noise Level 3. Thank you. Ciao.